Hello everyone, and this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling on August 26, 2015. And, this is the week that they finally, pulled the trigger on the invasion angle. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I'll basically say that, hey, that's what did eventually happen this week. The way they built up the entire show, I like this beginning of the show with the Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy promo cutting about EC3 and eventually EC3 granting another match for Matt Hardy, but if Matt loses, his brother Jeff becomes becomes like the personal assistant of of EC3, and I like the build up throughout the show. It did end, I think, about in the end of the first hour with Jeff Hardy giving his answer, because they built it up as Jeff Hardy has to make this decision, making basically a gamble or a bet on his brother winning, and if his brother loses, he becomes the personal assistant at EC3. And I liked how they did build that up, and then going into the actual answer for Jeff Hardy. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It was a nice little story element touch that they probably needed to add into into that particular feud at this time to kind of keep it going, because you already had EC3 go over on Matt Hardy at one point in time, so you needed to add a little bit of an extra caveat to this one to keep it going on. So I did actually like and enjoy those couple of segments of the show. You had what would be the continuation of the Dollhouse, and now them integrating Velvet Sky into this, because you had the Knockouts title match with Velvet Sky and Brooke. So decent match, nothing too crazy or special about it, but you had the aspect that the Dollhouse came out and interfered, and then it seemed like they were going to get saved by Rebel, who was Brooke's friend at the time, when she got taken out by the Dollhouse, which, in the terms of making this turn, they should have still used Brooke for continuity purposes, because Brooke and Rebel were the two buddies at that point. But no, they turned Brooke with Velvet, having her turn against Velvet when it seemed like she was coming out there to help the two of them out. The promo from Tara Terrell was pretty good. The one thing I've never been a big fan of is this whole you got attacked by these people and now you're going to be helping them. Like, what actually went on here? I hope they try to explain a little bit more of it, though I highly doubt they will. It's just, oh, she's a part of the group now. She got attacked, so we'll go with the aspect of you can't beat them, join them thing. I hope that's not the case. I hope they kind of do like maybe not like a creepy-esque brainwashing type thing, but make it feel like that they brainwashed her to coming into the actual group. And this is just something to keep them going, because they're playing off of the angle that Gail Kim crushed Tara Terrell's hand through last week's show after the steel cage match. So it's something to keep it going on, and they needed to I guess they needed for some reason, after with them using Velvet Sky last week, they had to fully integrate her into the storyline. This was the way they decided to do it. Not too good, but nothing overly bad either. A few things that they could have done better, but nothing too bad. What is it? You also had the X Division title match in there. A good match with Tigre Ono and Sanjay Dutt. Why is the other? And DJZ was in there. Was in the match as well. I don't know why it was slipping my mind that DJZ was in the match or not. But pretty good X Division match. Nothing. I wouldn't say anything special to write about. Just really good match between all of them. The storyline elements and the next storyline element was based around the title matches, was with the tag team title match, where the Wolves going up against the Abyss and Manic, and both teams did a really good job in this match. I feel they like I said, most of the time with the matches in TNA, they're usually pretty good, and this was another pretty good match. But the storyline element with Shira um, and James Storm with the Revolution kind of continuing on. You had James Storm come out and interfere in the match, and then you had Mahali Shira come out there and interfere and getting rid of James Storm to help the Wolves kind of retain the tag team titles, or at least cause enough distraction that they retain the tag team titles after the interference. So basic continuation of that storyline. Nothing too terribly special about it, but nothing that bad either. So again, at least a decent continuation of a storyline element in there. Next up, and they have been building it throughout the entire show, and you got little promo packages throughout the show as well, with the Fatal 4-Way #1 contendership match, and the winner gets to go up against PJ Black the next week. Yeah, Lashley, Mr. Anderson, James Storm, and Bobby Roode. Really good Fatal 4-Way between the four of them. They put on I won't say a classic, but they put on a really good match. It was a lot of fun to watch, and it was kind of, you could tell they were kind of going with the aspect of Bobby Roode actually going over in this case, because he had been getting on Jeff about, oh, you left me out of the King of the Mountain match, you left me out of the big high profile matches over the past few weeks. Now he gets a shot against PJ Black for the King of the Mountain title. Still kind of weird that they won't be only doing that in King of the Mountain type matches, but then again, I guess they kind of have to defend the title, but doing the King of the Mountain match like every other week would get old rather fast. So I mean, we'll see how all that plays out there. And then, like I said, they had been building up Bobby Roode to being put in one of these high profile, or what would be a more high profile match here very soon. So we'll see how that match goes out next week. I think I don't think they'll build too much of a story, or at least they might build up a little bit of a story throughout the entire show, until they actually have the match. So we'll see how they do everything with that and where they go with Bobby Roode and PJ Black next week. I believe it's a next week's show that they have the match. So again, we'll see where they go with everything. Now this brings me up to the main angle of the night, which was the official start of the GFW invasion into TNA. And the actual angle that they did, continuing off of the whole, is Jeff Jarrett going to be put in charge of the show, everything like that, and in the promo that led with, you had promos throughout the entire show, and you got little pieces, like you saw a little piece with Drew Galloway in there, attempting to find out answers of what was going on. It was funny that, or actually, we'll get into that one a little bit. I'm kind of jumping ahead there. So leading into the promo with Dixie Carter and Jeff Jarrett out in the ring saying, and they were kind of doing the whole buddy type promo, which eventually led to Drew Galloway interfering in this and basically saying he's finally putting his criminology degree into good use. And they pulled that one kind of out of nowhere. But they eventually having them put two together that Jeff Jarrett's car was the getaway car each time in each of the attacks of Bully Ray, which they finally announced that Bully Ray's not going to be coming back. Obviously because of what happened overall, but whatever. So they basically have used that attack to write him off. So now so he could go off and do his Bubba Ray Dudley bit in WWE now. So getting past that. Sorry, clearing my throat again. The entire angle is eventually implicating Jeff Jarrett into everything, which then it was like he was playing it off as he knew nothing, and it was eventually all of a sudden you get a voice in the background saying it was me, and it ended up being Karen. saying, "Oh, it's like I implicated this, I orchestrated these attacks, I did this and everything and that in order to benefit Jeff Jarrett." It seems very very reminiscent to an old storyline that they used. But you had that aspect in there, and then Jarrett makes his turn. So honestly, I think they're gonna play it off that Jarrett and Karen were both in it together the entire time. Like he didn't, like he played it off as if initially he didn't ask for her to do this or anything like that. But I think they'll play it off to where both of them were in on it the entire time, setting up everything. And this led to the big brawl at the end of the match where the GFW guys went over on the TNA guys. And actually decent promo. I did not mind this one at all. It was a good start to their particular invasion angle that they're going with. For the purposes of the casual wrestling fan, you're not going to know a lot of these guys to begin with, but I felt that this segment actually came off pretty good. I did not really find anything too overly bad with it, though the whole criminology degree out of nowhere from Drew Galloway was kind of out there, but I guess it works in the end. I don't know, but back on track here. It'll be interesting to see where they go with the GFW and TNA angle here in the next couple weeks. And we'll see, like I said, we'll see how this storyline plays out, exactly where they're going to go with everything. And we'll see how everything goes with that aspect. And before I actually finish it, I did forget one storyline bit, and it's probably because I don't really care for this storyline all that much, mostly because of what they decided to do with it. And that was the Eric Young, Chris Melendez match. Decent match between the two of them. I just don't like the storyline element. It's like, oh, Eric Young win, now I get your prosthetic leg. I just don't like those particular storyline elements. I've never been a big fan of them. And I mean, we'll see where they go with it, but I'm kind of looking forward to this angle ending sooner rather than later with them, and we'll see where they go with everything on that. But overall, this week's TNA Impact, pretty decent show. The GFW invasion I actually enjoyed a bit. It was not horribly. I won't say it was horribly written. It definitely was. I did actually enjoy how they built up into the actual full-on invasion throughout the entire night. The Matt Hardy EC3 with Jeff Hardy in there was pretty good as well. So overall, decent show. Nothing crazy to write home about outside of the GFWA angle. Nothing too crazy to write home about, but overall, pretty good show. So that's my review for TNA Impact Wrestling, and I thank you guys for watching.